We understand messages better when they are expressed using concepts that are meaningful to us. The broken diagrams in this video are designed to communicate the good news to those of us who are from group-oriented societies. Feel free to pause the video at any time to discuss questions asked in the video or questions it brings to mind.
When we look around the world, we see broken relationships everywhere, among families, nations, people groups, and with the earth itself. Where have you seen examples of broken relationships in the world? What do you think a world without broken relationships would be like? We deeply desire that world without broken relationships. We yearn for harmony. The fact that we can imagine this world and yearn for it is a clue that we were made for it. In fact, the Bible teaches that God, the eternal Creator, who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, made human beings for relationships of harmony with Him and each other. Human beings received life directly from God. Relationship or harmony with God gave them life. God honored humans by giving them a special face-to-face relationship with Him. The Bible tells us that the first man and woman were naked and yet not ashamed. Although they wore no physical clothes, they were clothed with the honor of God. They honored God with their hearts, and they honored Him by living in perfect obedience to Him. So they both received and gave honor to God and to each other. But the harmony the woman and the man enjoyed was broken. When they disobeyed and dishonored God, relationship with Him was broken, and soon the relationship between the two of them was broken as well. When the relationship with God was lost, the man and woman also lost the honor they had received from God. They realized they were naked and therefore hid from God, feeling both shame and guilt. Ever since then, human beings continually dishonor and break relationship with God and with each other. The Bible's word for this is sin. Sin is the heart attitude that puts self first and dishonors and breaks relationship with God and people. From this heart attitude come the individual thoughts and acts that are sins. Through sin, the man and woman also lost life. They were sent away from God's presence and learned that they would eventually die. Human beings were in a state of separation from God. There was no way they could restore the relationship with God on their own, because they could never honor or obey God perfectly, no matter how hard they tried. Only God could make the relationship right again. In families in some parts of the world, the older brother is responsible for the younger brothers and sisters and must seek them if they are lost. In the family of human beings, God the Son, Jesus, became human in order to seek after human beings and reunite them with God the Father. In dying on the cross, Jesus took on shame and guilt and honored the Father by His perfect obedience. But Jesus did not remain dead. The Father honored Jesus' obedience by raising Him from death to life. The word for this special rising to life is resurrection. We place a crown over the cross to represent the honor Jesus received in the resurrection. When we choose to follow Jesus, his obedience is credited to us and our sin is forgiven. Jesus offers life, honor, and forgiveness to everyone who will follow him and return to God's family. When we choose to follow him, Jesus sends the Holy Spirit to live inside of us, to help us honor and obey God and honor others. This is the main message of the Bible. What questions do you have? Today, there is a worldwide family connected to God and each other. Members of that family are working to bring harmony to broken relationships among families, nations, people groups, and with the earth. Jesus offers two different invitations. First, come and see. Learn about Jesus through reading the Bible, praying, doing what he says, and spending time with his people. Become a sincere seeker after God. Second, come and follow. Join Jesus and his family in bringing harmony to this broken world. John 1:12 tells us how. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. To receive Jesus means to welcome him into your life as leader and teacher. To believe in his name means to trust in him deeply. Jesus is making these invitations today. Are you ready to answer one of them, or do you need some more time to think about it?
It usually takes time for God's good news to make sense to us. No matter how we respond to the diagrams, there are some exciting steps we can take to learn about God. Here are some next steps and resources for people at 3 different points in their spiritual journeys.